Welcome to the PLZ Soccer Show. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff is alongside me here. Delighted to have your company. And of course, lots to talk about over the weekend's football. Celtic against Rangers dominates our thoughts because quite simply in the Scottish Cup semi-final, Ruffy, Rangers didn't turn up. Celtic thumped them 4-0. Yeah,
you're right. Rangers went into this game with some kind of high hopes after the performance at Ibrox, thinking that they could close the gap yet again, but unfortunately the gap is still there for everybody to see, not just on the footballing side but as personnel as well. I think the gap between both sets of players is so big it's unreal.
Yeah, yet only 3 weeks ago you said there was no real gap. Rangers were going to win the game at Ibrox. What happened to you, Ruffy? Did you analyse it wrongly?
Yeah, must have done. Yeah, but I've said all along, if Celtic turn up, in particular big players turn up, I hadn't seen the best of Dembele for a long time. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. I thought Sham was outstanding, but for me the star of the show was McGregor. I think this young lad has come on leaps and bounds. I would go as far as to say that McGregor is a bigger threat than Armstrong just now. I know Armstrong was injured, but I think McGregor brings more energy to the Celtic midfield. He was all over the place and he was the star man for me.
I'll tell you what was worrying in the game, Ruffy, apart from the fact that I thought it was an embarrassing performance by Rangers. I think they let their fans down. I think the manager got his tactics wrong. But Scott Brown seemed to stroll through that game as if he had a cigar in.
Yeah, I think the relative success that Rangers had the last time they played against Celtic when it was nothing each. I think Halliday was a big player. He got into Scott Brown's face. He was making challenges, tackles. I can't remember Scott Brown being in more than one tackle in 90 minutes yesterday. I remember there was a 50-50 with somebody round about the 18-yard line which he just strolled through and you could see jumped up, chest all pumped out. I can't remember any Rangers midfield having a scrap with them, you know, and it just shows you they just stood off that whole Celtic midfield.
Yeah, Robert has sent us a message on Facebook just basically saying Celtic will go on to win the Scottish Cup. Well, we're going to talk about Motherwell Aberdeen very shortly, but just to the debacle that is Rangers, I think the fans were let down. I think some of them had enough once the penalty went in from Moussa Dembele, and of course when he does the Pirlo chip, that just rubs salt into the wounds. In the game, as far as the performers were concerned, I thought he got it wrong because at Ibrox, Ruffy, he missed out the midfield. He decided to go long and then try and press Celtic further up the field. Suddenly, in comes Andy Halliday, Graham Dorrans. They try and keep it tight in the middle of the park. They didn't get close to anyone. I thought it was poor of the managers to take off Andy Halliday 5 minutes before the end of the first half. I thought he made him a scapegoat. I thought it was one of those moments that I was gutted for him because quite simply the whole midfield was inept.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, having never ever been substituted, so I don't know what the feeling's like to be taken off during the game.
Let me tell you what it's like. You get angry and you shout at the manager.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So I cannot imagine what it would be in an Old Firm game, 4 minutes before half time, your number goes up and you come off. The embarrassing that must have gone through the lad's head was there for everybody to see. I don't know why you just wait 4 minutes, wait to the half-time whistle, get in the dressing room, explain to the lad, look, it's not working, I'm going to try and change the formation, have a chat with him and do it in-house, you know. But to be out there in front of 50-odd thousand people, you can see why his reaction the way it was. It was just an embarrassing situation.
Yeah, and if you're looking for consistency on it, Ruffy, I've always said in every Old Firm game since Brendan Rodgers has taken over, Celtic have better players man for man. In the 90s, when Rangers were under 9 in a row, I mentioned on several occasions to you, I could go and work at a game and be in the press box and look at, Laudrup, Gascoigne, Haitley, McCoist, and never for a minute think Celtic were going to lay a glove on them. And this is the same situation now. Brendan Rodgers has gone 10 games undefeated against Rangers. I mean, it's not that they have the Indian sign over them, it's they have better players. Rogic has stepped up, left foot, right foot in the past 2 games. You know, Griffiths can come off the bench. Armstrong was out yesterday, but he could come off the bench. They've got so many options.
Yeah, and I said that. I said if you get a chance to put Celtic team down in paper and put the Rangers team down in paper, put a valuation beside every player, and it'll show you where the gap is. It'll show you where the gap is and the quality of player that both sides have got. And yesterday, that quality came through in abundance.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the other aspect of this is Graham Murty's getting it in the neck. They were questioning Mark Allen in some of the papers this morning. And this is after everybody said prior to the last Old Firm game that Rangers had a good January transfer window. What Graham Murty's done is he's improved this Rangers side from the debacle that was Pedro Caixinha, another Rangers mistake. But over and above that, now the big questions are, some Rangers fans are saying, hey, wait a minute, what about the owner? What about the chairman here? What about Dave King? What about all the promises? Where are they going to get the money to stop Celtic winning 10 in a row? Now, at this moment, Robbie, I've had various people from Rangers tell me, oh, listen, these soft loans, the 18 million in debt, nobody's looking for their money back. Who in the right mind doesn't look for their money back eventually? Who's going to put money into that club? Who's going to put major money into Rangers without taking control of the club? That's what it needs, major investment.
Yeah, I mean, I know Rangers all right down through the years have said needs to be Rangers people, it needs to be Rangers this, they need to be that kind of minded, they need to be that. Maybe that has to stop. Maybe that an investor needs to be found who isn't Rangers minded, who just wants to invest in the club and take them to another level, because the people that are there are quite happy to be Rangers supporters, and 2 or 3 of them are putting their money in, not large sums of money, the money that we're talking about. So maybe it needs a different aspect of, you know, where you get the investment from. But because I was going to say, because I think the supporters are fed up. I think the supporters are fed up putting in their money in abundance and then seeing what these people that are left in charge are doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this reminds me of the Celtic board before Fergus McCann came on board, which was quite simply so many investors all trying to protect their own interest and no one single person with the main say, with the main amount of money, who decides the direction of the club. And that's where the problems right now are lying squarely at Dave King. He has to find money to change that side. He's got to get a manager that's able to take Rangers on to the next level again. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I wonder if Rangers will finish second, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, obviously they have to pick themselves up, and obviously they've got Aberdeen licking their wounds as well. So, you know, this would be an ideal opportunity for Hibs to cash in both of them. You know, obviously they're not going through any turmoil at all. But to go back to the Rangers one, Rangers have to remember that if fans aren't happy, they stay away.
Yeah.
You know, and I got a feeling with the way that ground emptied very, very quickly. I think there'll be a lot of Rangers supporters saying this may be the time when we have to show that we're not happy with what's happening.
Yep, okay. You can give us your view at PLZ Soccer on Twitter and Facebook.com/PLZ Soccer, or you can give us your thoughts on YouTube as well. And if you download the app, the PLZ Soccer app on Google Play and in the App Store, you can hit video recorder and record your own message and send it to us as well, and you could feature in the PLZ Soccer show. Simple as that. Or you could do what Niall's done. He sent us a message on Facebook. Do you think Motherwell could go on to lift the Scottish Cup? Well, they stand a better chance than Rangers, basically because they have a game plan, they have a style, they stick to it, and Aberdeen knew it was coming at them on Saturday. They couldn't deal with it either.
No, they didn't, and I have to say that they have a game plan, and their game plan is for the first 20 minutes we get in about you, we stop your good players for playing, and then when that happens we have our own players who can play a bit, particularly the 2 up front. There's not many teams play 2 strikers up front, and if they can get into the last third of the park and start delivering balls into the box, they're going to create havoc for anybody. Yeah,
and the other unfortunate thing sometimes when you get a situation where the underdogs, and Motherwell were the underdogs, sometimes if you get a situation where they defeat Aberdeen, you know, you start to talk about the frailties of Aberdeen rather than the positives of Stephen Robinson's side here. They've got a chance, as he said, to make themselves legends by winning the Scottish Cup on May 19th at Hampden. They've got a bit of power in there. Kipri's been a star this season. Ryan Bowman I like, I know you like him. You know, and everybody loved Louis Moult, but boy, this Curtis Main, 2 goals on the day, he really puts himself about as well.
Yeah, it reminds me of Mark McGee. It reminds me of Mark McGee in his Celtic days, the guy who chases the lost cause. If it's going into the corner, he's not letting that ball go out. He's going to chase it all the way in there, and that's what happened at the weekend. And what happens when you see a player like that putting in a shift up front, everybody else responds, and that's what happened with Motherwell. Their midfield were absolutely superb, and they deserved everything they got.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to Motherwell, take their place in the Scottish Cup final. So we've paid them the ultimate compliment. Now look at the negative. Derek McInnes, I wonder where he goes now, Ruffy. He says he can make the changes to change Aberdeen's fortunes in the summer. I think he's hit the ceiling with them. I think he's got to get out. I mean, if West Brom, and we don't think West Brom are going to offer him the job, but if they were to offer him the job because of his association with them, I think he'd bite their hand off.
Well, obviously, if they came calling, I don't think it's a no-brainer for me. Obviously, we keep talking up the new stadium, the new training ground. That's 2 years away. You know, 2 years is a long, long time in football. You're right, there needs to be investment up there. You've mentioned McLean's going to be away, Ryan Christie's going to be away. That's 2 massive players that I don't think you can replace unless you've got money. Yeah. So he's going to have to go and chap the owner's door and say, look, what is my budget for next year and what am I playing with? And then he'll probably make up his mind of where his future lies.
How bad were they?
It was shocking, you know. It was really, I mean, I know I keep saying 3 big players out of your side, but that means the other players have got to come in and step up.
Motherwell had 3 players that they couldn't call on.
Yeah, you're right, but Motherwell didn't need to. You know, they were just so good on the day. But I just felt that you're right. I think Motherwell now at a stage where even his supporters are going to be starting to, you know, for all the relative success they'll have, they're going to start asking questions as well.
Okay, listen, we're going to move on. I'm going to read out Kaiser's message. He says, I would love for the Scottish FA to exchange the Champions League spot for a deal with the English FA that would allow Scottish teams in the FA Cup. I'm not too sure that the Celtic, Rangers or anybody else would agree to that, the top half of the Premiership, but still, Kaiser, worth a mention anyway on Facebook. As far as the Scottish Cup is concerned, it's Celtic against Motherwell on May 19th at Hampden. Looking forward to it. But as far as the Premiership is concerned, there was one game over the weekend, roughly, and that was Hamilton against Kilmarnock. Kelly got it, Boyd got another goal. He'll definitely be in the running for Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's got my sports writers one. I just remembers to say.
Who cares? You're not a sports writer. What do you keep bumping your gum about it for?
I'm just saying it'll be really interesting to see how the players vote and their vote, because as you say, he's hit the limelight at the right time when the ticks are getting put on the pieces of paper. And
why won't he get the players' vote?
Well, I hope he does. I hope he gets both. No, I'm not saying he should get one and not the other. I just think that he's the kind of guy that the players would vote for.
Have you done a deal with the sports writers?
No.
I mean, I play for them at 11 asides, but I just wonder, have you got a deal? Is there any insider knowledge?
No, I'm just saying he's got a better chance of winning that one.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, because obviously...
Why?
Because I think the sports writers, when they come to deciding that, there's somebody who's done something for Scottish football. It's in the latter stages of his career. He's having a fantastic season.
Are you suggesting that journalists show a kind of sentimentality, nostalgia, you know, a kind of if you've done a couple of extra interviews, then they get the vote?
Yeah, that's how I got mine.
Yeah, no surprise there, Ruffy. Okay, so from there we move to English football. There's 2 elements of this. First of all, congratulations Manchester City. They win the English Premier League. Manchester United, they were poor at Old Trafford. Who'd have thought? You beat City the week before, you don't want to hand it to them on a plate. You think you're going to beat West Brom, who are clearly going down to the Championship, and they lose 1-0 at home. No,
I think that's a disappointing thing for Man United. It's been that kind of season when they have been dropping points against teams like that. But I still think they've got bigger things to do. I think if Mourinho will want to win something.
Ruffy, you'll never guess who's just started watching us. Would you believe there's a guy who's just come on there? He's called Kenny Duffy, and him and his brother they've been playing us at tennis the last couple of weeks. Right. It hasn't gone well for them, I have to tell you. I just spotted his name there and I thought to myself, you can't come on a live show and put your name up there. I mean, that's just embarrassing, isn't it?
And why would you interrupt your lesson? Your 40 quid lesson?
to try and get a set offers. Anyway, Kenny, thank you for watching the programme. So, Manchester City win the title with a 3-1 win over Spurs as well. Pep Guardiola receiving all the plaudits after everybody was annihilating him for getting knocked out by Liverpool in the Champions League. I've got to ask you, Ruffy, as far as the City side, some people in the paper this morning, The Guardian, it suggested they could be one of the best title-winning sides ever. You know, because of my affection for Liverpool, I beg to differ. I think Kenny Dalglish and Souness and Hansen was a better Liverpool side. Maybe Man United's 99 side, and dare I say it, the Arsenal Invincibles of 2004 certainly deserve a mention.
It was funny you should say that, because when I was reading The Independent this morning, checking my stocks and shares, they had the same debate.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Give me your team. I've
got to go Invincibles.
Yeah,
I think
Arsenal.
I think you got to go with Bergkamp and up front and Henry and two wide men. Was it Pires and Pires and what's his name?
Ljungberg, Freddie Ljungberg.
Yeah, I mean, Guardiola tried to do it this year and they couldn't do it. You know,
well, it's not Man City. It's almost certainly between Manchester United and Liverpool, because Liverpool won the European Cup, would win the title, would win the League Cup. Manchester United won the FA Cup, they won the League, and they won the European Cup. So it's between those two. Certainly our poll gives it to Manchester United, because that 99 side, absolutely superb. I think it's United edging it of the modern teams, because Schmeichel in goal, Gary Neville, Ronnie Johnson, Jaap Stam, Dennis Irwin in there. Then your middle, I mean, Beckham, Scholes, Keane, Giggs, up front York and Cole, supplemented by the subs, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Teddy Sheringham. That's a team, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, you can't take anything away from them. Obviously, that the things they won that year is absolutely incredible. I mean, you couldn't write that final in that European Cup game. Yeah. It was just absolutely superb.
Yeah, just before we go, a couple of questions going in there. What's your thoughts on a 50-50 split of the ticket allocation for the Scottish Cup, says Brian Dunn. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll tell you why it won't happen, Ruffy, is because Motherwell have a fantastic general manager in Alan Burrows, and he'll take his allocation of the tickets for Motherwell, and then once he knows they've reached that ceiling point, he'll hand, you know, a certain amount back. I think he knows the figure that he's looking for, that people will actually take their ticket allocation. I don't think it'll be a 50-50 split, and I think Celtic fans will get extra on the day.
Yeah, and I think that's the proper way to do it, and you're right, the guy that's in charge at Motherwell will do that. You know, he won't keep the Celtic supporters hanging about. They'll hand them back as soon as possible, and we'll have a fantastic atmosphere at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know sometimes the crowd can make a huge difference, Ruffy, in a game, but in a cup final, you know, I can remember Hibs bringing a huge support through to play against Livingston in the League Cup final, and by the end there was only maybe 2,000 people left in the stadium as Livingston won it. Yeah,
I mean, that's what happens, you know, you come with high expectations, but no, I think this will be a spectacular day for everybody concerned who goes along to that game.
Yeah, what about Louis there? He says, I'd take Stephen Robinson for Rangers manager. I'm just wondering who the next Rangers manager is going to be, Ruffy.
Well, it's going to start pretty soon. Yeah. You know, I think as soon as the dust settles, you know, there'll be names getting thrown out there day on day, but I think Rangers have to get the next one right.
Okay, there you have it. You can take part in our poll at PLZ Soccer on Twitter. Who do you think is the best title-winning side of the modern era? We've thrown in there Arsenal's 2004, maybe Liverpool of 88. It was a good side. And also in there Manchester United of 99 and Man City of 2018. They are a special side as well, but maybe not as good as Pep thinks they are. They've won the title at a canter, but they couldn't get past Liverpool, who are in the semi-finals of the European Cup against Roma. There it is there. It's the prospect of casting your vote and giving us your thoughts. If you want to take part in the soccer show, by all means, download the app in the Google Play and in the App Store. All you have to do is hit Video Reporter. You can record yourself. We'll put you on the show with us, giving us your thoughts on football. If you want to pose a question to us, if you want your latest news on football across the globe, then it's all there on the website, www.plzsoccer.com. From Ruffy and from myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.